Fueled by Deathcast.
Wow. Well, I almost thought like they picked you right away because your personality seems to fit the character so well. How much of your own personality is like Bosch's personality? How much do you relate to Bosch?
So you're saying that I'm by nature a taciturn.
It seems like it.
Yeah. All right, this interview is over. No, I mean, I think, you know what, for me, I mean, the whole joy of acting for me is to try to kind of disappear into a role.
Yeah.
But, you know, the parallel to that is how do you disappear into a role and when it's something steeped in reality like Bosch, you know, it's not Batman or something, how to make it feel as grounded and real as possible, because I never want to get caught acting. I can't stand that. You know, some roles are over the top and they call for a dramatic flair, and that's fine, but Bosch is not that character. And that's the hardest part about playing him, because he's not really an emotionally demonstrative guy. He's not monosyllabic, but he really only speaks when he has something to say. So there's, and of course in the books it's told through the narrative of what he's thinking. And one of the tricks that I said to the guys was, I said, you know, when you find Bosch so often in the books and he's by himself, there's a kind of solitude and he's being contemplative, but it's described in the narrative. But there's no dialogue.
Right.
Let's do that. And they, of course, were relieved because they wanted to do that. But, of course, you know, the age-old story is that actors want as much to say as they possibly can. And the challenge to that is, for me, to say as little as possible with dialogue, but to try to project that inner emotional life with him without speaking. And I would say that's you know, he's a guy who doesn't have a lot of affect, which is also the other thing that's really hard. How do you play a guy who doesn't want to be seen, but has to be seen?
Is the main character.
And who is the central character to all that in his universe that he's bouncing off of. And that's been the thing. I mean, myself, I mean, I'm kind of noisy and you know, I am emotionally demonstrative. I'm a crier. I'm a yeller. You know, it's all kind of out on the plate. Although my kids will say things. They'll watch a scene and there'll be a look or a gesture, and they'll be, you know, yeah, I know. Oh, that guy's in trouble. I know that look.
That's
so I guess one can't help but have some part of themselves, you know, you imbue the character with some level of your own affect, you know, not intentionally. And, you know, my sort of characterization of Bosch is kind of an amalgam of my father and the writer-producer David Milch. He is sort of a melding of that with a little bit of something else thrown in there here and there. Another question I'm asked a lot of times is because, you know, Harry deals with the darkest and most tragic moments in the course of people's lives. He sees the worst of it all. And, you know, obviously I'm not a cop. The subject matter is heavy. Well, and so that people will say, wow, when you come home, do you have to have a drink? And I go, well, I don't drink, so I've kind of used up my coupons with that, so no, I don't. I said, but you know, there's a humanity to that character, and if you talk to any homicide cop, they'll tell you that there's some kind of an emotional reserve that they have internally that allows them to kind of get through it. But they all say you don't do this work and not get touched. Hence, you have a lot of, you know, you have a high divorce rate, a lot of alcoholism. But I also know a lot of detectives who are squared away enough in that they have that survival mechanism for their emotional life, that they're able to separate themselves enough from that so that when they're with their loved ones and navigating everyday life, that they're not overly touched by that it doesn't allow them to be able to be present.